In this video, I'll share my story and the harsh reality facing thousands of students in Canada in 2025. What is happening to IRCC and what can you do if you're stuck in this mess? Je vais prendre une minute pour m'adresser à mes abonnés francophones. Cette vidéo est toujours aussi pour vous. Même plus pour vous parce que c'est vrai que le Canada a annoncé qu'ils sont à la recherche des francophones, mais aussi le Canada c'est un pays bilingue et on cherche les francophones hors Québec. Et hors Québec, on parle l'anglais. Donc, vaut mieux commencer à s'exercer maintenant avec mes vidéos. Je vais faire des vidéos plus en anglais, mais aussi je vais toujours vous mettre des sous-titres en français. Comme ça. Canada's immigration system is in crisis. As of March 2025, IRCC was dealing with nearly 2 million applications, a number so high it's even hard to imagine. For international students, the wait for a study permit extension has reached to an average of 234 days. That is almost 8 months. And that is just for you to find out if your application has been approved or denied. I'm gonna give you a bit of background why my study permit expired while I was still enrolled. When I started my studies application, I wasn't well aware of everything that I need, or I might say I wasn't well prepared. So I started with my passport having 1.5 years to expire, and initially you never get more years, you never get a permit that is beyond your passport expiry date. So I only got as a result I only got 1 year study permit, 1 year work permit, same as my son. And what I needed to do, my course is 2 years, so that meant I have to first of all get a new passport once I got here, which was also another mistake. And I'm really not gonna get into the passport issue so much because it's a whole video in itself, and if you guys need that, and especially if you're living outside Ottawa, it is very important that you find a way to go get your passport in an affordable way and also as soon as possible. So that is a story for another day. Leave in the comment if you guys want to hear more about that. Okay, so I had to get my passport renewed first, so I went to Ottawa, did that, came back. Since I knew I have to do this, I planned for it earlier on. So my passport, my extension, my study permit was expiring in November 2024, and in June I already had my passport renewed. Thankfully, the passports from my country just takes 2 weeks, so I went to Ottawa, applied, and in 2 weeks I had my passport. So now I can put in a new application for my study permit. So June, July, I gathered everything because it's like you're restarting again. You need a bank statement, you need you really need all those proof that you used the first time, but now you need updated ones. So I gathered everything, and in October I submitted everything. I had to do an extension for myself, I had to do an extension for my son, and since I did it before, that means my study permit is expiring in November and I did it in October. That means I have maintained status, which is good, because when you have maintained status and you've applied, it really doesn't matter. Well, that's what I thought, that it doesn't matter how long they take to respond. As long as you applied before, you have maintained status. It is a good thing. You have to you make sure you apply before it expires, but also I didn't know it would take that long. So what happened is from October all the way to the next year, to 2025, so from October 2024 all the way to February, I didn't have a study permit. And now that's when everything started going one by one. You don't have a study permit. So when November came, my study permit expired. I couldn't get anything. My C number expires the same day. My bank documents, my bank card, like my credit card, expired. My literally everything just expires on the same time. Your work permit, meaning at work I wasn't able to get, like, they needed a new work permit. I didn't have that, so I wasn't able to work at some point. Literally your whole life stops. And what made it worse for me is I was supposed to do my placement and I wasn't able to do it because of my study permit. Like, everything stops, everything. Like, when it expires, of course you have maintained status. For some employers it is okay, they don't mind, but I was working with the public school and they really needed that for their file, which was, I mean, it's a lot. But just know, when your study permit expires, it expires with everything that is surrounding that, and you become unable to do anything. Your credit card is not working, you're not able to work, you're not able to do anything. I was supposed to get my driver's license at that time. I couldn't get it after doing my test. I was supposed to, like, literally nothing. You can't, your health card, everything is around that. So that was very scary. It was like a whole month of nothing, doing nothing. And then what happened was I went to my MP's office and I asked for them to intervene for my case, because it was really getting out of hand. And you don't get a no, you don't get a yes, there's nothing. It just shows that your documents haven't even been touched. And as for me, I really needed it to be, like, to get an answer so that I know what to do. The school, of course, they won't, the school, of course, didn't chase me out. They knew I had, like, for most places you just show that, hey, this is the proof that I applied, and they accept it. But at some point you're stuck. So for the school it was okay, but since I was not even in school, I was supposed to be doing my placement, it became a problem. Okay, so the school couldn't call on my behalf, so I had to go to the MP. They called, they intervened, and after like 2 weeks later, that's when I got my study permit extension. And that was like after 5 months. It was almost 5 months of waiting, not knowing what is happening. And I'm telling you, when you lose everything, your job, you're like, oh, you can't pick shifts, you don't have a credit card. I don't even want to get into it, but just imagine, it is chaos. It is literally chaos. Okay, and also getting back those things, once you get your extension, getting back those things, it's another process, because you have to apply. Like, most of these things I had to apply again. I had to wait for the time that it takes for them to come. So it's really so inconvenient when your study permit expired. Please note, I applied while I still maintained status, but regardless, I faced all these things. So what you need to do is to make sure you apply way before. Right now we're talking about 8-month waiting period. So if your study permit is expiring, you have to give it at least 8 months for you to get another one, if you don't want to be in the same position. Okay, no, I'm not the only one. There are thousands of students in the same situation. They are stuck in a limbo. They are unable to plan for their future. And this isn't just happening to international students. Work permit extensions are now taking 237 days, and visitors permit extension are now taking 169 days. It's almost like they want temporary residents to give up and just go home. So what can you do if your study permit is almost expiring? Number one, you have to apply way before it expires. This gives you implied status, meaning maintained status. Even if you apply a week before it expires, then you maintain status, your application is all in, like you've submitted all the documents needed, that means you've applied. If you start the application and you've not submitted everything needed, that doesn't count. So make sure you submit everything before it expires, and you should be good for the long wait. Okay. Number 2 is you track your application weekly on IRCC portal. Don't wait until to get a notification. Sometimes you can apply and then they're like, oh, you're missing something, so you need to make sure you're tracking it every week. But now you know the wait, like you really need to be on the game. For instance, if you have your passport expiring and that means your study permit will expire, you need to be on top of game. You need to apply for your passport, and passport takes different timing depending on the country where you're coming from. So make sure you know exactly how long it will take and you plan way before. So if this thing is saying right now we have 8 months waiting period, that means it's advised for you to apply for your passport even 2 months before, so that you have time. You need to gather bank statement, and now we are talking about your now updated bank statement. You can no longer use what you used before. You can no longer use your study plan, the one you use. Like you have to update everything, so you need to be on the game on time. Number 3, if you need help to do all this, you can get an immigration consultant to help you. You can get a friend who knows how to do these things to help you out. But one thing I've noticed, and people are getting stuck, is the person who applied for you the first time. If you came through an agent and that agent doesn't give you the password, the codes, you need the password, you need the email to get onto your portal, because that's where you're gonna use. So if you know very well someone applied for you and you don't have that information, start getting them. Sometimes you get stuck, or I don't even know why these agents are doing this, but it messes up things. So get on that as soon as possible. Lastly, make sure you advocate for yourself, because no one is gonna do that. And sometimes, especially with the employers, they really don't know much about our status and all that. All they know is that your permit has expired and that's it, right? So for me, I had 2 jobs. For both of them, I went and told them, okay, my permit has expired. And the other one, actually, they noticed the day it expired, they kicked me out of the system and I couldn't pick up shifts anymore. But the other one, I went to them, I told them, hey, my permit has expired and this is what is happening. But the one that kicked me out of the system is because it's a government job and they are on top of everything. They know what's happening. So they kicked me out, and I had, for 1 week, like I was just hoping, oh, okay, let me just wait and see if it comes. But when it didn't come, I was like, hey, I have maintained status, so legally I am allowed to work. I am still allowed to work even if I don't have a work permit or my study permit has expired. So I went to them and I told them initially, like, as I still have the right to work, so I don't see why I was kicked out. And they were like, okay, we're gonna check into it and get back to you. And they did, and the day later they got me back to work. Like I was able to continue to work, but they were like, okay, as soon as you get it, let us know, because we need that on file. So you see, you really have to speak up for yourself. Sometimes they don't know, or sometimes they don't care enough to follow up on that. And if you don't follow up yourself, you're gonna lose it. But the other things, you literally lose them. Like other things like the C number, the whatnot, those ones, you're gonna lose them. And when you're back, that's when you have to reapply for them. Before I finish this video, I just want to say that as international students or as temporary residents, we need to be on top of the game. This means it doesn't matter if you came to study, if you're visiting or whatever, you really need to know that here you cannot work with irregular documents, and don't even try it. You might escape once, but it will catch up to you in the future. So what I advise, you keep track of your dates, you make sure you're on top of the game. And another thing that is very important is to have another plan. You're a temporary resident, but you have to have a plan on how you're gonna become a permanent resident as soon as possible. As much as you're still in school, you need to start working on getting PR as soon as possible, maybe as soon as you're done, or even while you're still studying. It is possible. I'm gonna do other videos on that in the next few days coming. So make sure you subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. If you have a question about this, leave it in the comment section below. I will answer you. See you next time. Bye bye.